Good morning. I woke up and the first thing I saw was the Thunderbolts trailer from Marvel, and I've kind of been anticipating this. We did get a leaked trailer from Comic-Con, but I didn't want to watch it until we got clear footage, so I kind of knew what to expect. But I watched the trailer and listen, there's I've been talking about this a lot. There's just this slew of Marvel productions out that shouldn't have been greenlit, that are going to go forward, that we all kind of know aren't going to be good, and this is just another one to get through. But here's the thing. I wouldn't be doing these videos unless I thought that Marvel had a chance to get better, unless I thought that they had a chance to change, and that's why I'm invested at all about talking about this stuff. So, and listen, Sebastian Stan, he came out and said, you guys, you're expecting the worst, but just try to give it a chance. So I tried to give it a chance. So, I think that the poster looks nice. Other people disagree. I think the poster looks fine. But then there's the trailer, and the trailer is just probably the worst trailer that I've seen for a Marvel production, for these current Marvel productions, and that's saying something because Disney usually does great with its trailers and marketing content. But I'm trying to hold on to the positives. To you, Sebastian Stan, you said give it a chance. I'm trying to hold on to the positives. So, what I think is good what I think is good about this trailer is I think that it reminded me that Florence Pugh as Yelena, she does a good job. She's been given awful material to work with, but I think that she is very well cast in the role, and it's unfortunate that she's come in this era where I think that you could do a lot of great stuff with her character. The other thing is I like seeing Bucky Barnes back in any capacity, but they kind of undercut that. But that's kind of all I can say that I think is good. And for me, if you were going to do a Bucky and Yelena movie, would it make money? No, not at this point, but I actually might be interested in that. And it was the parts of the trailer that sort of had that spy thing, that spy tone and theme going on, that I was kind of liking it a little bit. However, the problem is that they undercut it so much, and that's what makes this trailer so bad and not work at all, is because first you have Yelena and you're following her, but then she runs into a bunch of other characters. And there's Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, there's the Taskmaster, the failed, controversial Taskmaster from the Black Widow movie that everyone just lambasted because Taskmaster is such a great villain and they wrecked that character. Then there's John Walker, who some people like from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but he has a lot of baggage because he was very much the demonized character in that show. And then we have Sentry show up, and nobody who isn't a comic fan is going to know who that character is. And so that's where the problems of the trailer just kick in, and it goes to emphasize everything wrong with Marvel right now. Here are a bunch of characters, and maybe they could have had potential with better writing, as any character has good potential with better writing, but these are all characters who either failed by themselves or were a part of failed projects. And this is the same problem that the Marvels faced, and why I think that this movie is going to bomb in the same way that the Marvels bombed, is that it's a bunch of characters that people are unfamiliar with. The Marvel's Captain Marvel character, a lot of people didn't like, with Miss Marvel and Photon. Now, I don't think either of those characters are hateable or anything. It's just that no one knew who they were, and so they weren't draws for the movie. And that's the problem with this one, is Yelena and Bucky are not enough to carry it themselves, and these other characters, either people don't like them or they don't know who they are. And that was the first problem, is I'm like, these are all the leftovers. Like, instead of calling it Thunderbolts, you should have called it The Leftovers. Oh, that sounds so mean, but it's so true that these are the leftover scraps of the era of churning out Disney Plus content and Phase 4 and all of that, and that is unfortunate. And but that's the best description of this movie. And this is the last movie, I think the last production. No, we still have Wonder Man, but the last theatrical production before Marvel might be shifting course, before we might get something good in Fantastic Four, and that is me being very generous, because I do not like the title Fantastic Four First Steps. Doing it in an alternate universe, these are not the things that I wanted from Fantastic Four, casting Pedro Pascal. I'm gonna be like Princess Unikitty, though.
Stay positive.
Stay positive. But that's just one problem with the trailer. The other problem, other than just that these are characters that no one knows about, is the tone. And I keep saying that about Marvel, but the tone of Marvel keeps getting worse. Because once again, when this was trying to be like a spy thriller trailer, I thought it was fine. But then you got out with this humor. And it's not that you can't have comic relief in what's overall a serious action movie, but it's the kind of humor. For example, Bucky comes up and it's this big dramatic moment at the end where he seems very dangerous. And I'm wondering and worrying if they've gone back to his Winter Soldier programming. And I really hope not, because I thought we were beyond that. I don't know why we keep having to regress his character, but it's supposed to be this big moment, this big epic moment. And then it gets intercut by this moment where you see him taking his metal arm out from the dishwasher. And it's so cringe and it's so silly, this sitcom level humor, doing this to a character who's supposed to be very serious and has always been very serious, and it just wrecks it. It kills the moment, and that's what just makes me feel like this is going to be terrible, because if the trailers, and Disney usually does pretty well with their trailers, if the trailers look this bad, I can only imagine what the movie's going to look like. And that was the way it was with the humor throughout the thing. Like, Red Guardian is just an awful character. He's a completely different character in the comics. He was actually the person Black Widow was originally her husband, or arranged marriage husband, in the early 60s comics, and they retconned him into being her adopted father. Weird stuff going on there. But and nothing against the actor, nothing against any of these actors or actresses, but it's the writing that they've been given and the characters that they've been given to play. Red Guardian is just such a cringy character and just awful humor. Like, oh, he's fat and disgusting. Like, that's the whole theme with him, and it just doesn't work. And the other thing about this is that it's a movie that's coming out too late, because it is so obviously a Suicide Squad ripoff, and more specifically a ripoff of Suicide Squad 2016. They even have the line in the trailer, there's bad guys, but then there's worse guys, and that just calls back to Will Smith's Suicide Squad 2016. There's bad, it's not a movie about evil, it's a movie about bad versus evil, and we're the bad guys and you're evil. Like, that's the exact same mantra, and it's very confusing, because it's like, Suicide Squad, first movie, made a lot of money, one of the most panned comic book films of all time. The Suicide Squad got well received, but it bombed at the box office. So it's confusing to me, because it's like, at what point did they think that this was going to be a good idea to see the struggles with Suicide Squad over at DC? Maybe Kevin Feige was thinking it would be a Civil War and Batman versus Superman situation. For those who don't know, Captain America 3 was originally going to be very different, and they wanted it to be Civil War because they thought they would have to compete with Batman versus Superman, and they ended up beating it. So maybe that is what they were thinking with this, that they could use the Thunderbolts as their Suicide Squad, and that with that they would beat DC at their own game, and like Civil War, they would prove that they are superior. But I think that they are doing the opposite, because no one cares about these characters, and the tone and the way that it's constructed does not convince me that this is going to be a good film. Once again, instead of calling it the Thunderbolts, this should be called The Leftovers. This is the leftovers of the time from Marvel, where they were greenlighting a lot of projects that never made any sense to be greenlit at the time, just to get more and more content out. And now they're in a corner where they want to right the ship, but they have so much of it in the can, and it is just going to continue to damage the Marvel brand, and to make it even harder for them to get out anything good. The only thing that they might be lucky from this is if that people just ignore it, because it just doesn't have any characters that they really like from it. So, to Sebastian Stan's comment, I want to give these things a chance, but it's not looking good so far. And it is very telling that Marvel is releasing these projects very quickly. Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four are all releasing within a span of 6 months, because they want to get these things out of the way so that they can move on in 2025, 2026, 2027 with other movies with the Avengers and the returning cast that they are hoping to bring people back, and Spider-Man 4, of course. But they have to get through all of this stuff first, and it's not looking good. It's looking like more of the same of what we've been getting from Marvel, and it's really disappointing to see actors such as Sebastian Stan and Yelena Belova wasted with that. But That's my thoughts on the Thunderbolts, aka the Leftovers trailer. I think that this is not going to do anything other than continue to damage Marvel's reputation, be another The Marvels, and I just don't expect to be proven wrong. Will I watch it out of curiosity? Yes, because I went from I stopped caring about the MCU to I want to see if the MCU can correct itself, but we have to get through this stuff first. But those are my thoughts on the trailer. What did you think about the Thunderbolts trailer? Do you think that it can be salvaged in any way? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, patrons, as always, for supporting this channel. There are now 16 of you. You can check the link in the description if you want to support this channel, and I will see you guys next time.